At the San Onofre nuclear generating station, the threat of nuclear meltdown is shifting to concerns now over nuclear leftovers.
Right, so after being shut down in 2012, 3.6 million pounds of radioactive waste now sits in storage at the facility.
So what now? NBC7 investigates. Mari Payton explains where that waste is headed and what is being done to keep the community safe.
In an April 2016 editorial, Scientific American said the steady accumulation of radioactive waste is more of a threat than a meltdown, a threat becoming all too real for many protesting storage plans for San Onofre's nuclear waste. If all goes as planned, the radioactive waste is headed to bluffs above San Onofre Beach. On the San Onofre nuclear generating station property, northwest of the now shuttered units 2 and 3, nuclear waste is currently stored underwater in liquid tanks inside the 2 reactors. It will soon be moved into 100 stainless steel dry cask storage.
It is the most dangerous stuff on Earth. It is a witch's brew of radioactive material.
Daniel Hirsch with the University of California, Santa Cruz is talking about fuel rods, long metal tubes containing radioactive pellets that at one time provided fuel for nuclear reactors. They make up the nuclear waste from San Onofre. Hirsch, a longtime critic of the industry, says the clock is ticking and it's imperative the fuel rods be moved as soon as possible. Something the plant's owners, Southern California Edison and SDG&E, agree with.
Those pools are such that they're so intensely and densely packed that if they lose the coolant, you could have a fire in them.
50 canisters of radioactive leftovers are already in storage. The rest, about 70% of the waste, will be moved and stored beginning next spring.
They're going to be stored on the beach in the worst possible location you could imagine.
Langley's with Public Watchdog and opposes Southern California Edison and the United States Nuclear Regulatory Commission's storage plans for the radioactive waste.
It's the cheapest alternative. It's what's best for the stockholders. It's not what's best for the people of San Diego and Orange County.
SCE argues otherwise and says the 50-ton canisters are robust, use a proven technology. The design exceeds California earthquake requirements, protects against water, fire, or tsunamis, is inaccessible to missiles or projectiles. Not a case of no risk, the utility says, but low risk.
I find it somewhat ironic that they have picked locations so close to the ocean when we know there's going to be sea level rise.
The NRC, along with the California Coastal Commission, approved the location for the nuclear waste storage on the plateau above the Pacific. In January, large swells from El Nino conditions caused considerable erosion on the beaches and bluffs in the area. A Pacific Institute report on sea level rise found flooding and erosion risks will increase in areas where the coast erodes easily. Sea level rise will likely accelerate shoreline recession and may expose previously protected areas to flooding. The United States Geological Service found the same dynamics: extreme bluff, cliff, and beach erosion changing the face of our shoreline, rising sea levels, storm surges, and coastal flooding accelerating over time. No matter the weather conditions, SCE says there's little risk any of the canisters wrapped in concrete will leak. Nuclear power plants throughout the country have been safely storing used fuel since 1986, they say. SCE cites a study that shows it would take at least 80 years for a crack to occur in any of the canisters. By then, the utility says science will have a new solution. The Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, is no longer involved in planning emergency response for a nuclear accident at San Onofre. The story behind how this happened and what it means for the community is coming up in part 2 of our series, Nuclear Waste at San Onofre. That airs tomorrow on NBC7 at 6 p.m. I'm Mari Payton for NBC7 Investigates.
The Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, is no longer involved in planning emergency responses for any nuclear plant incident at San Onofre.
The story behind how this happens and what it means to our community, as Mari just said, is in part 2 of our series that you'll see right here tomorrow.